this event, you really got to be in your A game in order to place on the podium.
And again, I'm Alan Tang, and I'm here with Mario Martinez, and we're commentating this 13th World Wushu Championships right here in Jakarta, Indonesia. As the judges prepare, first athlete from Russia, Andrei Solovev. And be sure to tune in on our other channels as well. We have Sanda, men's 56 kg going on, and as well in the other ring, men's Tai Chi Chuan. And that's being hosted by our partners and colleagues, Anthony and Simon. And here we go, our first athlete. Be sure to look us up on the official Wushu TV Facebook site.
At the International Wushu Federation, IWUF official Facebook page.
Again, you're watching the men's optional Changchuan long fist event. First competitor, a highly decorated athlete from Russia, Andrei Solovev. And first attempt, that's a full 720 rotation, Mario. Although in this competition, you're judged based on a maximum of 540.
He's pulling out all the stops here.
Having a solid landing with solid stances is a very strong and important component in Wushu competition. Now, as the latter part of the form goes on, demonstrating some of the quick combinations. The back sweep. Into a final bow stance position. Very solid performance, Mario.
That's Andrei Solovev from Russia. Will stand by for a score. There's that jump outside Alan was talking about. Opening score for Andrei Solovev, 9.59. Strong score, but in this division of so many top athletes from around the world, we'll have to see if he can hold on to that spot.
Yes, back to back, we have another strong competitor right away from Korea. It's Yonghwan Lee. We saw him demonstrate that in his staff routine. Very strong athlete.
He's a very strong jumper. Definitely has a lot of jumping ability.
Opening 540-degree outside kick. Front snap kick. Aerial into a 360 inside kick and an outside kick combination. It's pretty much demonstrating all of his difficulty components right here in the first section. This is what we call a kao toi ping hung, or a balance, which is a standard requirement in all Changchuan routines. back sweep, another mandatory component. And another strong performance. We'll see how the judges score this one. And here's the final score for Yang Yun Lee, 9.62. Our next competitor from Brazil, it's going to be Henry Nakata. In wushu, what's important is not only speed and power, but as well the control of body movement, what we call shenfa, which is the ability to move both in a flowing and subtle position to connect your movements, having both slow and fast components to your routine. For those of you just joining us, this is the third session of the 13th World Wushu Championships. The afternoon session, Arena 2, where we have men's Changchuan or long fist event going on. There are over 50 competitors in this event alone, and we've seen some of the top already.
That's Henry Nakata from Brazil. Henry's final score, 9.36.
It's good currently for third place. And next we have a competitor from Switzerland, Jemsi Kyo. Changchuan, what you'll see is a full demonstration of all the basic hand techniques, fist movement, palm movements, and of course stances required in the sport of wushu. And a very clear indication of the difficulty components as well. There you saw inside 360 into a lotus stance landing, and followed by an outside kick into a bow stance landing. the standard balance required in wushu, the kao toi pinghang, which means cross-legged balance.
That was Jemsi Kyo from Switzerland. And in the wings, I see our next competitor lining up, Vladimir Maximov, another Russian competitor, very strong athlete. In a field of so many competitors and perhaps one of the most prized podium finished events, you're going to see a lot of competitors bring out movements that you typically wouldn't see to try to stand out. Final score for Jemsi, 9.12.
And here we have our next athlete from Russia, Vladimir Maximov. And his lead jump, a 540-degree inside kick rotation with split landing. It's a little off on that landing there.
Looked like he put his hand down.
And as well, demonstrating a 720-degree landing. However, a little bobble as well. Those are the risks you have to take when demonstrating these high level of difficulty movements. There's a chance that you'll fumble at landing.
Vladimir was actually our bronze medalist in male Changchuan long fist at the 12th World Wushu Championships.
But in this tough field, it's very important not to make any mistakes. And it might be tough to repeat that this time.
Vladimir final score 8.81, and you can see the deductions taken for the jump misses, and then also additional deductions for the loss of balance, the split, and placing the hand down on the carpet.
And of course that affects your B score as well. Mistakes you can handle in men's Changchuan if you want to be placed in the top 3 ranking.
Absolutely. When you've got a field of seasoned competitors who have taken the podium previously, you can't allow for any mistakes.
So in many ways in competition, even though it's an individual event, what you're really competing against is not only your field, but as well as your best and whether or not you're performing at your ability. A little rough on his landings, but overall a good form. There's his 360-degree twist into a split landing. Very clean.
And Luis Alvarez's final score, 9.24.
And that currently places him in fourth. And you see from the deductions, 2 deductions, which definitely hurt in this event. Each technical Group A deduction is valued at 0.1 each.
Our next competitor is Flavio Campanile from Switzerland.
For any new viewers joining us, we're currently in the men's Changchuan event here at the 13th World Wushu Championships, live stream from Jakarta, Indonesia. I'm Alan Tang, and together here with Mario Martinez, we are commentating this men's Changchuan division. Finishing up his routine, this is
Flavio Campanile from Switzerland.
And we await his marks. In Wushu events, Changchuan is typically referred to as the northern style of the Chinese martial arts, emphasized with the acrobatic jumps and open arm movements, along with high kicks. And that's the drastic difference between the long fist and the what we call the Nanchuan, or the southern fist.
Flavio Campanile's final score, 8.75. The next competitor is preparing to enter the carpet, and that's Ivan Mendez from Mexico.
He's the 8th athlete out of 52 in today's event.
Jump inside 540 into a horse stance. Now, if you note, the landing There was a slight hesitation.
And again, the cross-legged balance actually looks easier than it is. A lot of athletes actually have a lot of trouble with that. With every required move, it's required criteria in order to complete the movement.
It's a difficult technique to execute on its own, let alone in the middle of your form once you've done jumps and your body and your legs are burning. That was Ivan Mendez from Mexico.
And next up as well, we have an athlete from France, Paul Rondeau. The final score for our athlete from Mexico, 8.88. Ivan Mendez.
And Paul Rondeau is also a junior national team member. He's just coming off of the 2014 Nanjing Youth Wushu Tournament, where he got the combined spear and straight sword first place gold medal.
Let's see how he sets up for his first taste of senior level competition. Slight bounce on his 540-degree landing. But a nice landing for his music you hear in the background is from arena number 2, where currently the men's Tai Chi Chuan, Tai Chi Fist event is going on. And in our ring, arena 2, this is the men's Long Fist event.
That's Paul Rondeau from France.
Good performance by this young Wushu athlete. However, those 2 jumps will cost him.
Our next competitor is Ariel Barrientos from Chile.
So aside from the difficulty requirements in wushu long fist, as well, there are certain criteria in terms of demonstrating your understanding of punching, your palm strikes, your hooks, and of course your stances and your balances in wushu. Of course, endurance plays a big part in the latter half of the form. Where all of the stances and the running movements play a big toll on your body.
That was Ariel Barrientos from Chile.
Demonstration of an inside jump kick into a horse stance landing, followed by an outside into a horse stance landing. However, he had a little bit of a fumble there on his landing.
Ariel Barrientos, 8.81. Our next competitor is one of the seasoned Japan team members, Daisuke Ichikizaki. He was our 11th World Wushu Bronze Staff Medalist, our 12th World Wushu Silver Staff Medalist.
Today we saw him earlier in staff. He did not make a placing. He let go of his staff slightly during his routine. And let's see how he recovers from that in this event. .540-degree outside kick, followed by a 360-degree outside kick into a horse stance landing. And a very strong combination into an inside 360 kick with split landing.
You know, one thing that has always stood out about Daisuke's performance is he's very explosive and very fast. He has very few breaks in his form, and he's just able to just power through his entire form.
And you can see him using his expression, showing the intent in the application of his movements, which plays a big role in his B score as well. Very solid on his balance, leading up to the final run of his routine, ending it with a butterfly kick into a lotus stance. And there it is, very strong performance by Daisuke. Let's see how the judges score him on this one, Mario. Here's his 540 outside kick with horse stance rotation, and followed by a 360.
Now you'll note athletes at this level, they make sure to have all the quality of movements also in the execution of their nandu techniques. So when they jump kick, they make sure they make perfectly sure that that kick is at least shoulder level, over waist level, to meet all of the requirements for each technique.
And as you can see as well, the hit and the attack on the hand is very important. That shows his score right now, 9.65, putting him into first place.
That's a solid score.
But a lot of viewers who might not understand in wushu competition, the reason why the athletes hit their hands or hit their feet for contact is simply a location and understanding of targeting, which actually when you hear them train, you'll get a good sense of how good their ability is based on the sounds they make during their routine. Very, very difficult.
And our next competitor is taking the field, Nabil Abdallah from Lebanon.
So there are two different long fist events here at the World Championships. One being the optional, which we're viewing right now, which is a self-choreographed routine made up of compulsory movements, compulsory difficulty moves that are standard, and athletes choose from this list and place them into routines. On the other hand, we as well have what we call the compulsory Changchuan, which is a set form that all athletes demonstrate, used as well at the A level for Junior World Championships. And here currently we have our Lebanese athlete, 13th out of a field of 52. A little hard on the endurance toward the end of the routine. We saw this athlete let up a little bit on his last stance.
Nabil's final score, 8.79. Although he collected most of his points, he was short on his jump techniques, and he also received a couple of different deductions for technical deductions.
And you saw one of those towards the end of the routine where he placed his hand on the floor to support himself.
Our next competitor is Raul Retamero from Spain.
Actually, this, I believe, is Indonesian athlete. We had a couple of dropouts, so this is Ahmed Hulafe. You can hear from the crowd, a hometown favorite from Indonesia. Very nice cross-legged balance. And he is demonstrating good strength and control in his movement.
He's got a lot of speed.
Good accuracy with his punching technique as well. That was a strong butterfly kick. Back sweep into a hammer fist. Finishing off with a front slap kick into lotus stance. Stop. Very, very strong form. Respectable score, 9.61 for Ahmed Hulafe from Indonesia.
Places him in third overall.
We have some of the technical volunteers just fixing a piece of the competition arena at the moment. And for those viewers tuning in, we're live here in Jakarta, Indonesia for the 13th World Wushu Championships. Currently on display here in arena number 2 on day 2. This is the men's Changchuan long fist event. I'm Alan Tang, and here with Mario Martinez, providing your commentating for this event.
And for those tuning in around the world, just to remind you, we are taking questions, and we'd like to know where you're viewing the live stream from. You can visit us at the International Wushu Federation IWF official Facebook page. We've started a new thread. Just go ahead and comment where you're from.
And for those of you still joining us from North America, it's currently local time 3 o'clock. I hope you're enjoying this live stream of the World Championships.
Our next competitor, Anjul Namdeo from India.
Well, so far, there's a single leg, cross leg balance. It's very close. He might have slightly went out of the boundary at that point of his form.
Namdeo, final score 9.36.
A very good score from India.
Up next, we have another athlete from Indonesia. Charles Sutanto had strong performances yesterday. Podium finish.
And I'm sure he's looking to continue that in today's event. Where he's performing his single leg balance. And a 540 inside kick right after his front slap kick aerial combination. Typically, athletes demonstrate a lot of speed, energy, and power in their section 2 and 3 of their routine. Bow stance and back sweep requirements. And here you see him adding a lot of individualism from other components of Wushu into his form. There it is. Charles Sutanto from Indonesia.
There you can get a chance to see just the height that he gets on his jumps. Charles was actually the 2008 Spear Gold Junior World Wushu Championships medalist. Charles Sutanto, final score, 9.59.
Very good mark, but however, in this field, a lot of strong competitors in the men's Changchun event.
Looks like the overall B score was just a tiny bit low. Got all of his jumps, got all of his technical movements in. Next competitor is up, Sungjae Cho from Korea. Another very strong competitor who we've seen throughout the championships. .540-degree outside kick, and I tend to see that a lot now. A 540 followed by a 360-degree outside kick with horse stance landing. Alanolin, it looks like we've got a question on Facebook by Mark Moran, who was wondering if we could explain a bit of the point breakdown of judging and what the roles of all the types of judges are.
Well, Mario, basically in Wushu, there are three components to the judging panel. One being the A judge, which is in charge of the technical, or what we call quality of movements. That is in general a deduction-based judge who looks at all of your components such as stances, your punches, your balances, and they take marks off when they see that they don't meet the standard.
That was Sungjae Cho from Korea. To continue on the scoring breakdown, B judges look at overall composition of the form.
The overall performance, we call it.
They look at speed, power, flavor, intensity.
Your rhythm and your expression. And in the Wushu sense, it's really your intent to how you apply the movement in a martial art aspect. And that is a score where the athletes really have no control over. It's where the judges give their opinion and they provide you a score rather than deduct a score.
That was Sungjae Cho with a final score of 9.53. Our next competitor is from Australia, Reagan Tan.
And the third set of scores, which is controlled by the Group C judges, that is what we call the difficulty component. And that is marked out of whether it's 2.0 if you have full difficulty marks, or it is based on the mark that you provide if you're under that requirement threshold. The difficulties are made up of your jumps, which are based on your rotation criteria, such as that Reagan demonstrated a 540-degree outside kick. And there are various different levels of difficulty that you can place into your routine and choreograph into your routine. Then the judges, based on what your starting marks are, they deduct you on the basis of whether or not you complete those difficulty components. And I believe Reagan, being one of the more younger athletes here, is having a little trouble with his difficulty moves. The two most important aspects of those difficulties is one, your rotation, in terms of how many rotations you accomplish prior to your kicks, and as well, very important, is the landing component, in ensuring that you stick your landing in whether it's a horse stance or a bow stance, or typically seen a lotus stance. And joining in, I know we have some friends from the Netherlands still viewing our live stream right now. Thank you all for tuning in to worldwushu.tv.
That was Reagan Tan from Australia.
Seems a little worn out from his performance.
Reagan Tan, final score 8.18.
Got a lot of deductions in his Group A for losing balances and typically on the rating of his stances.
That's right, and many of those can not just affect you, not just in one grouping of scoring, but if you fail to execute a movement and then stumble out of it, you may also get a deduction from your overall quality of movement for losing balance.
That's right. So typically when you make one mistake, it snowballs and hits you on quite a few different areas of scoring.
And our next competitor is Pablo Trozo from Argentina.
Mario, with each different event, there are as well different types of required movements, which are the basis of each style. In Changchuan, like I mentioned, the basis of it is the stances, the punches, and the hooks. So each athlete, when they comprise and compose their form, they must ensure that it has each of those required elements in it. Whereas earlier, when we were watching the staff or the cudgel or the qiangshu, the spear, each one of those weaponry, they have their required movements as well that is specific to that event category.
As you can see, that, however, in spite of all the required movements, there's still a lot of variation and a lot of combinations that athletes can choose.
And what makes wushu a very, very difficult sport in terms of endurance is because of the time requirements and the necessity to complete all of these movements within that time frame. And the athletes, not only are they going fast like a sprinter, but also they're required to stop and have rhythm in their form, which actually makes it much more difficult. Because surprisingly enough, if you just blast it through your routine in high speed, it would actually be easier than doing it with all the stops and the slow movements that comprise of the rhythm. And as you can see, if you're doing a outside kick towards the end of the form, it does become very, very difficult on your endurance. And our athlete here had a little bit of trouble with that one.
Pablo Trozo, final score 7.48. Next competitor is from Italy, David De Maria. Looks like we got more people checking in on the Facebook page. Jayo from Germany, from Marco Rake. Thanks for watching.
Glad our friends from Europe are staying awake to watch this competition. Whereas I'm assuming most of our friends from North America are probably in bed by now. But hopefully it'll catch us on the replays tomorrow. Front slap kick, aerial combination into a 360 inside jump kick, horse stance landing. And for a lot of our viewers to understand the composition of Changchuan or long fist, many of the movements here in this type of routine is exaggerated in terms of its application. In wushu or Tao Lu, specifically. The movements are brought to develop the range and the agility of your movements, where in actual application may be done slightly differently. But it is a goal in your performance to be able to showcase where you're looking and where you're attacking, the intent of the movement, and in all of your strikes and blocks.
That was David De Maria from Italy.
And in this competition, you'll be able to witness some of our strong athletes be able to demonstrate. And although it's very dance-like, it is not a dance. It's actually very strong martial arts at its best. And that's the intent of the athlete, to showcase you those types of movements, which is very important in the Group B or the Judge B scoring.
David De Maria, final score 9.13.
And here we have our next athlete from Thailand. This is Jo Se Lee.
Slight loss of balance there.
Slight mishap on his butterfly kick there.
We'll have to see how the judges score this. That was Jo Se Lee from Thailand.
Slap kick into a lotus stance landing. Hit that one, but had a lot of trouble on some of his other difficulty moves.
Jo Se Lee, final score 8.15. Combination of misses on the jumps and combination of technical deductions and an overall an impact to his B score.
Next we have Yi Sheng Yang from Singapore, one of their strong competitors. Singapore, a very, very strong wushu program there. Hope to the viewers at home, you're enjoying this live feed for the very first time from the 13th World Wushu Championships, live from Jakarta, Indonesia. Here we are in men's Changchun for long fist event. This is Yi Sheng Yang from Singapore. Starting off with a 360 outside kick into horse stance landing. Front slap kick, aerial, into a 360-degree inside kick, horse stance land. He's doing well so far, but as we said, Mario, it's a very, very tough field in this event here, with over 52 competitors
We've definitely got the best of the best in this event here today.
And we saw quite a few of them at the beginning. And currently we have several athletes who are ranked at the top from Korea and Russia, and as well Indonesia. Now we're getting into the bottom half of the field. Let's see how they'll fare up.
That was Yi Xiangyong from Singapore. There we see a jump side stretch kick. Again, he wouldn't receive additional points for that movement. But here, where you've got a field of strong competitors, you need every edge that you can get.
And his final score, 9.47. Very respectable score in this field. That is good for 7th place.
Looks like he received one technical deduction for one of his basic movements.
And it's very, very important for the competitor to ensure that they do not miss or do not fault at any of those requirements. They can become very costly.
Next competitor is from Sri Lanka, Hasitha Liyanage. And it looks like at least some of our friends back home are actually awake. Charmaine Darrow from the United States, thank you for listening in.
That was a slight mishap on his drop stance there.
That was Hasitha Liyanage from Sri Lanka.
Very nice landing on his outside 540.
Hasitha's final score, 8.66.
So he did land all of his difficulty movements, however, major deductions for his loss of balance and his basic required movements.
Our next competitor, Alan, is from your neck of the woods, Leslie Kwan from Canada.
That's right, Leslie trains out of Calgary, Alberta, and this year was one of our top male athletes. He's been training for quite a few years now, and I'm sure some of his teammates back home are still up and watching. Front slap kick into a lotus stance landing. There's a 540 outside kick with horse stance land. Leslie has been competing in Canada for quite a number of years now, but only in the last few years has he made it on the senior national team and has really stepped up his performance and his abilities in the last few years. is Leslie Kwan from Canada. And he is actually brings us to the midpoint of our athlete field today. He's a 25th athlete of 50. Very respectable score of 9.50, putting him in 7th.
And our next competitor is another very strong athlete from the Japan team, Tomoya Okawa. He is actually a podium finisher from the 12th World Wushu Championships. Very strong competitor all around.
Like we mentioned right from the start, this is a very tough field. The Changchuan is very, very prestigious, if not the most prestigious event here at the World Championships. Very sharp movements. As he heads into the final section of his routine, a butterfly kick into lotus stance landing. And another strong athlete in this big men's field where there are 52 competitors. We're just about halfway there. Very good height on his jumps and completing them with solid landings and good composure on his basic movements and requirements.
Tomoya Okawa, final score 9.57, very good score. However, in this field of top competitors, that places him at 6th overall.
So still on our leaderboards is several of our competitors from the earlier stages of the competition. From Russia, from Indonesia, and as well from Korea. We had some very top level competitors at the beginning, and their scores seem to be holding up so far.
Our next competitor is from Singapore, Jin Jiefeng. Just as a reminder, if you're just tuning in, we are live from the 13th World Wushu Championships. In Field 2, we have men's individual Changchuan or freestyle long fist. In Field 1, we have male Tai Chi. And in the other field on the other end of the carpet, we have men's 56 kilogram Sanda going on.
And these are the preliminary rounds where we'll see in the next few days the competitors start moving up into the semifinals and the finals. And right here in the men's Changchuan division, a strong competitor from Singapore, Jin Jiefeng. very good height on his jumps. However, what will pull him down a little bit is his Group B score, which is his overall impression.
Jin's final score, 9.30. Our next competitor is from Great Britain, Curtis Filmer. And if you're checking us out online, please be sure to drop us a line at the International Wushu Federation Facebook page. That's International Wushu Federation, IWUF, official site. It looks like we've got Christopher Marsagan checking in, Emilio Alpanseque from California. Looks like we've got a lot of people still awake watching us. And Stephen Fontenelle, thank you for tuning in.
Curtis Filmer from Great Britain. He's the 28th competitor in a field of 52 in this men's Changchun event. You might also take note, Mario, at some point when they had a overall Changchun event, there were over 100 competitors in this event alone.
That's a long field of athletes to try to stand out in.
Yes, and now since they have divided into what we call a compulsory Changchun and an optional Changchun.
That was Curtis Filmer from Great Britain. Curtis Filmer, final score, 8.82.
Several deductions for his technical movements.
Our next competitor is from Brazil, Maximilian Kobayashi. Slight hesitation on the back sweep.
Into his cross-legged balance.
There we see his coach from Brazil, longtime competitor, Paul Amadani, coaching him on. That's Maximilian Kobayashi from Brazil. There we see his jump front kick into a cross-legged sitting stance. Maximilian's final score, 9.24. Our next competitor is from Mexico, Juan Carlos Perez. Now, Alan, one interesting thing to note is many of the deductions that we're seeing in the air level category are many of the times the same. We've seen a lot of code 30s, which is the kicking leg being below the shoulder level. Sometimes it pays when you're competing to take a look at a lot of the different codes that are coming up for many of the competitors to get a good gauge of what the criteria that the judges are really enforcing strictly. I think that's one of them very, very consistent deductions that we see throughout the championships. We've seen them this morning, we've seen them last night, and we're continuing to see them today.
That's right, and the kicking below the shoulders is absolutely important because that's really defining the quality of your drum kick.
Juan Carlos Perez, final score 8.72. Looks like we had a couple of misses on his difficulty movement and some technical deductions.
That's right. And next up, we have Gordon Tsai from the United States. Where's Gordon from?
This is actually Gordon's first time at a World Wushu Championships as a national team member. He's well known in the national circuit in the U.S. He's a very strong competitor in the U.S. We'll have to see how he does here. Jump outside 540 now. He had to hold that stance. We'll have to see if the judges give it to him.
Typically, when you land a difficulty move, you're required to hold the stance for a duration of time that is clearly shown that you have stuck the landing. Gordon as well participated in the Pan Am Championships.
That's right.
Costa Rica. Going into his final section. That's Gordon Tsai from the United States. Saw quite a few of those, the jumping side stretch kick. Requires quite a bit of flexibility to accomplish that. Final empty stance position.
Gordon Tsai, final score 9.23. It looks like they dinged him on that hold.
That's right. They deducted the landing component of the outside jump kick where you first mentioned it. He did not show the hold long enough.
Our next competitor is from Macau, Chi Kwon Song.
And we see in ring number 1, it's the start of the women's Nanchuan events as well. Very nice inside 360 kick into a split landing, followed by an outside 540-degree kick into a horse stance landing. And here he goes on typical runs to indicate some speed and agility.
Ko Tui Ping Hung, single leg balance.
He's probably one of the younger athletes here, but very strong performance.
That was Chi Kwon Song from Macau. There we see Chi executing a jump outside 720. Opting to do a higher level difficulty, he doesn't get any additional points. It's still counted as a 540. But again, as we've been stating throughout this event, you really need every edge you can get. Chi Kwon Song, final score 9.44. Got all his jumps. Overall quality of movement is not bad, but again, that 30 code deduction for kicking below shoulder level cost him a 0.1.
And that could have been from his 720.
That's right. Next competitor, Christoph Kover.
Christoph is from Hungary.
And the name for the weight, 65 kilograms. In the race of Antonio from Italy, takes the final time from Sweden to the next side. The blonde that Mr. Pedro from France. First round.
And just a reminder, you'll want to stay tuned in. After men's Changchuan Long Fist event, we have for the first time at the World Wushu Championships, women's Shuangjian or double straight sword.
The only and first and only double apparatus event in the Wushu competition. As Christoph awaits a score.
Christoph Kover, final score 7.51. Looks like he took quite a bit of technical deductions along with a couple of missed jumps. Our next competitor is from Germany, Matthew Sichler.
From jumping slap kick, aerial combination.
The winner of the ball is from Vietnam.
We hope you're enjoying the live broadcast. This is Mario Martinez with Alan Tang coming to you live from the 13th World Wushu Championships. You can also check updates on our Instagram page at IWUF_official. You can see a lot of live postings, a lot of different updates from our events.
And photographs, of course. As Matthew finishes up his routine.
It looks like we've got some supporters from Germany, from Marco Rick. And we've got a shout out from Canada, Derek Lau. Matthew's final score, 8.48.
He got hurt a lot on quite a few balance losses during his routine. Next, we have a competitor from Spain. This is Dan Rodriguez.
Oh, a slight fall. That's going to cost him a couple of points.
Definitely that plays a big part when some of these athletes choreograph some of the more difficult movements towards the end of the routine, whereas they have to really test their endurance and ability to last that long.
That's Dan Rodriguez from Spain.
And on the first round, the winner for the first round is Black Red Card.
And Next, we have a competitor from Sri Lanka.
Dan Rodriguez, final score 8.48. And our next competitor from Sri Lanka, Hasika Shamira Mundiansalag. If you're just tuning in, you are checking out Field 2 of the 13th World Wushu Championships Changchuan Male Long Fist event.
This is the optional long fist event.
We're a little bit more than halfway through the field of athletes. However, you want to stay tuned because we still got strong competitors from China, Taipei, and Vietnam standing by. That was Hasika Mundiansalag from Sri Lanka. Hasika's final score 7.50.
And our next competitor from Thailand, we have Sujinda.
The winner of the vote is Sungwon Park from Korea. The next vote weighs 65 kilograms. Indonesian Sungwon Park from Turkey versus Daniel from Senegal in the red side.
Typical basic kicks in Wushu include the outside kick. What you saw there, the side kick is a requirement in the composition of the routine. The back sweep,
The following judge, Mr. Wu Chan from
and the main balance requirement is the cross-legged balance there you see.
That was Sujinda Yangrungruin from Thailand.
First round.
Our next competitor is Sergio Salamanca from Spain. Sujinda's final score was 8.66.
Both sides out of the background. Both sides out of the background. Red side down corners.
Little shaky on the single leg balance, but he managed to save it.
Butterfly kick into a lotus stance landing.
That was Sergio Salamanca from Spain. Sergio final score 8.71. And again, it looks like he got 3 deductions for 3 of his kicks being below shoulder level.
And next we have Rodolfo Torres from Portugal.
Our current standings are Daisuke Ichikizaka from Japan at 9.65.
Holding on to the first place position.
Now that could change. We have some very strong competitors coming up, including some from China, Vietnam, and Taipei. That was Rodolfo Torres from Portugal.
Next on the field, we have Daniel Gomez from Mexico. Here you see butterfly kick into a lotus stance landing.
Rodolfo, final score 7.87.
A lot of marks lost, definitely for the height and level of the kicks in those difficulty jumps.
Our next competitor is Avo Majen from Lebanon.
Is Daniel Gomez in men's Changchuan long fist competition here at the 13th World Wushu Championships. He's the 41st athlete in a field of 52, definitely one of, if not the most participated event at this World Championships. A very, very strong field of competitors.
That was Daniel Gomez from Mexico.
Yes, and we have following him a competitor from Libya, Avo Majen. Daniel's final score, 8.93.
The next boat weighs 65 kilograms. Is the race of from Philippines, from here at the bedside. The black object, Mr. Kang from Hong Kong.
Now, Avo seems to be incorporating a lot of movements from a compulsory routine.
There's our athlete from Libya, Avo Majen.
The second for our competition are about to end. Judges, please rise.
Avo's final score, 8.40.
And next we have a competitor from Great Britain. This is Sam Mack. Actually, Sam, we saw him competing many years ago at the junior level. And I know that due to some injuries, he took a bit of time off. But it's nice to see him back in competition now at the senior level. Demonstrating some strong, strong basic movements. There's the cross-legged balance. little stumble on a 540 outside jump kick.
Oh, that looks like a little bit of support from the back leg on the split.
One of the more difficult combinations, the aerial cartwheel into a split landing. Sam's demonstrating some quality in his basic movements, but having a bit of trouble on the difficulty moves.
He's opted to do some very high-level difficulty movements, but again, as we discussed, failure to execute them and complete them may cost him. Sam Max, final score 9.16. And up next, we have a competitor from China, Sun Peiyuan from Shandong Province. He was the 11th World Wushu Champion, received a gold medal in broadsword, and he's also a podium finisher at China Nationals. I know if there's one medal that China definitely wants, it's this one.
The winner for the first round is Rejal.
That was a 720-degree rotation into a split landing. An outside 540-degree spin. And the required cross-legged balance.
Second round.
Sun Peiyuan is definitely one of the more favored athletes. We can hear support from all over the crowd.
Very strong form. An evident display of their abilities to pull off those difficult moves.
Here we see that combination.
360-degree twist.
And if you note, he takes a single step out into that tornado, jump inside kick 720 to split. Very, very difficult combination to put together. And Sun Peiyuan takes first place with a 9.69.
That pushes Daikse from Japan into second place. But still a very, very tight field of competitors.
Our next competitor, Marcio Coutinho from Brazil. If you're just tuning in, this is men's freestyle long fist in field 2. This is Mario Martinez. I'm here with Alan Tang. You definitely want to stand by. Up next, we have women's Shuangjian double straight sword for the first time at the 13th World Wushu Championships.
And if you missed it earlier, be sure to review the footage live here on worldwushu.tv.
That was Marcio Coutinho from Brazil.
You can continue to download or stream the footage from yesterday's events and as well this morning's championships events.
And again, if you'd like updates or like to check us out, you can check us out via Facebook at International Wushu Federation IWUF Official and on Instagram at IWUF_official. We'll be posting updates, videos, pictures, and if you'd like to just comment on where you're watching the live stream from, let us know.
Next, we have Nicolas Orcel from France.
Marcio Coutinho's final score was 9.03.
So as we saw the difference, there was a 360-degree twist into an inside kick. However, many competitors, they tend to choose to take the 4 steps, where we saw the 1-step takeoff from the China athlete today.
The winner for the gold is Iran. The blossom judge, Mr. Paul from the Philippines.
That was Nicolas Orcel from France. Nicolas Orcel, final score 8.35.
Coming up next, we have Hector Toledo from Chile.
Our current standings, Sun Peiyuan taking the first place spot with a 9.69, holding strong.
Followed by Daisuke from Japan with a 9.65. Quite a stumble on the inside 540. In those instances, Mario, what happens is the athlete will get their mark for the difficulty based on rotation, but they will lose the mark for their landing combination.
So if anything, our athletes needs to make sure that they make the rotation. But at this level, you really need to execute both.
Correct. both the rotation requirements and as well the landing requirements, because both are highly valued in the overall market.
And the winner for the round is Rejal.
Now moving towards the end of the back end of our field, we're on competitor number 48 of 52 now. Next competitor is from Canada. That's Jason Chen Leung. Wonder if any of his teammates are staying up tonight, trying to catch this broadcast. Final score for Hector Toledo, 8.63 from Chile. And now we have Jason Chen Leung from Canada, training out of Calgary, Alberta as well. This is his first World Championship, but very strong showing at our nationals this year.
Second round.
It's the outside 540 into horse stance landing. A combination of a 360 twist, single step, 360 inside kick horse stance landing. And always the most tedious part of the form, the final section. Which really translates and challenges the endurance of the athlete. You see his opening sequence into a drop stance.
Jason's final score, 9.34.
Very respectable score, especially for his first time out.
And our next competitor, Chirag Sharma from India.
And that will be followed by Chen-Ning Wang from Taipei. .540-degree turn. Slight wobble on his horse stance landing there.
Looked a little high.
The horse stance requirement, for each different type of stance, there's several requirements. Horse stance being thighs parallel to the ground, knees open, toes forward, and being the back straight. Same with the cross-legged balance. The requirement is for your thighs to be level with the floor upon balance.
Turns around. Right side down. Right side down.
That was Chirag Sharma from India.
It's an aerial 360-degree twist.
Chirag's score, 9.26.
Our next competitor, Chenming Wang from Taipei.
Right side down. Right side out of the purple twice. The winner was Chinese right side. Winner decision. The winner of the vote is Venezuela become Nigeria. The next vote, men's 65 kilograms. In the right side, Bruce and from Canada versus Young Xiao from Belarus. In the black side, the black judge is Indonesia from Indonesia. First round.
Chenmin Wang from Taipei.
And here we are coming up to the final stretch of our athletes. We have two more competitors.
Chenmin Wang's final score, 9.55.
Very good score. But good enough for 8th currently. Our next competitor from Uzbekistan.
It looks like there may have been a slight correction. He may have dropped. It looks like up next is the final competitor from Vietnam, Tran Hiep Tran.
So our final competitor out of a field of 51. The current gold medalist holding his place from China, followed by our athletes from Japan. Correction, this is a competitor from Uzbekistan. giving a very strong performance.
This is Maksudbek Bakidirov.
So several strong competitors at the end of the field.
The winner for the first round is red time.
And that was our competitor from Uzbekistan.
Good height on his 360 twist.
Final score for Maksudek, 9.34.
And next, our final competitor now is Tran Xuan Hiep from Vietnam, a former gold medalist at the 12th World Wushu Championships. So let's see how he's going to do today. But definitely a tough crowd to follow. Front slap kick into a lotus stance landing, followed by a 540-degree outside kick. And here's his first run, front slap kick, aerial cartwheel, 360-degree inside jump kick, horse stance landing. The key, especially in this event, is not to make any mistakes, so there's no deduction points, both for your aerial components, your difficulty components, and as well your basic technical requirements.
Extremely explosive athlete.
This is back sweep, slight wobble on the landing for his drop stance. Athletes just can't afford to make mistakes. And that comes to play, actually, in a field of 52, that he had to wait all this time to compete right at the end, and it does sometimes take a toll on the athlete. Let's see how the judges score him. Very nice display of agility on that back layout.
Xuan Hiep Tran, final score 9.41. Looks like he got two technical deductions, kicking below shoulder level and that loss of balance. Looked like they caught that back sweep.
So that brings us to our final standings, where we do have in first place our athlete from China, who received a final score of 9.69, Sun Pei Yuan. And then following that, in second place, from Japan, that's Daisuke Ichisaki.
A lot of our podium finishers have competed in previous World Championships. Our bronze medalist is Yomyun Lee from Korea. Very strong performance. with a 9.62. In second place from the Japan team, Daisuke Ichikazaki with a 9.65. And our gold medalist from China, Sun Peiyuan, with a 9.69. Very close competition, but in the end, China came out on top.
I had the opportunity to see them routine from our gold medalist, and we finished a little bit earlier than you guys on the mat number 2. It was quite an amazing performance from the Chinese. I hope you all enjoy that national anthem, because you're going to be hearing it a lot during this medal ceremony.